Film Autopsy.
Whoa, baby, I love that opening. This is the first time I noticed that the blood on I guess the guy that Van Damme hit, it looked like Campbell's tomato soup. It was orange. It was all orange, or Chef Boyardee sauce.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's like going, wow. And I'm also very, very glad you showed that. I got to see the opening. I love the opening, number one, but also it explained to me another thing about the Acolyte that I didn't think of until I saw that opening trailer.
Oh, all right. We're going to get into that. But like my boy here, Takeshi Kintano 3 says, it's showtime, baby. What is going on? It's your boy, Preston, PhatSamuraiGuy, hanging out with my brother from another mother. That's right. Kung Fu Santa himself. That's right. Rick Myers. And we are back. That's right, baby. Another episode of Action Film Autopsy. Oh, yeah. And we have a plethora of awesome shows and, well, hopefully awesome. We'll see, shows and movies.
It's a packed show.
Yeah. And we're gonna have a blast like we always do. Are you ready to just jump right into this, Rick?
Let's do it.
We're gonna jump right into it. Up foist from the best martial arts streaming service, Hi-yah, baby. Oh yeah, check out the link in the description box. It is the best. That's right. Tai Chi Master. I saw the trailer for this, and I was like, "Ooh, this is right up Rick's alley." I was like, all right, this looks good. Rick,
yes,
is it good?
It is.
Okay.
In a really serious way, and it is in a really silly way.
Okay.
One thing that the trailer doesn't show you that you will notice if you watch the movie, and I recommend that you watch the movie because it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
For many reasons. But wait till you get to the giant silkworm.
I'm sorry?
There's a giant silkworm.
All right.
It's not, and it's like a pet. It's like the character from Dune. It's like the worms in Dune. It's, it's whatever. It's 18 feet big, and all the rest of it. And it also shoots silk out of its maw like Spider-Man.
Wow.
And when it showed up, but I already knew that the movie was going to be something because the opening sequence is this huge attack on this little village, and they shoot all these things out into the air, and you think they're gigantic sort of armored kites, but it turns out to be flying guys on kites, and then they come into the city and attack that way. And I'm going, okay, this is effing interesting. I don't know why it's called the Tai Chi Master, but then they introduce the hero, played by Yu Wu, the gentleman there. That's right, and that's why it's called the Tai Chi Master. It's all about the main core of the movie is him learning how to do Tai Chi properly. There are signs on the screen, like chapter 1, energy, chapter 2, healing, chapter 3, martial, things like that. And it gets really interesting. And most of the stuff about Tai Chi I recognize from having been taught Tai Chi over the last since 2001. By a Taiwanese teacher, what the heck was that?
I'm doing Phat Chi.
You're doing dumb. Yeah. Well, there you go. That works. Again, Tai Chi. There's many different schools of Tai Chi. There are many different family styles of Tai Chi. I try to do, of course, Rick Chi, which is, and basically I don't move. I just the key. Highest form of Kung Fu is not to fight, make your enemy your friend, right? So the key for my Kung Fu, again, which is all my Kung Fu is called don't hurt yourself. The key is I don't move. I taught Po the Panda in Kung Fu Panda, the original Kung Fu Panda Kung Fu, because they didn't. I told this story multiple times. I was with the crew, the animators, the producers, the writers, long before they started production of Kung Fu Panda. And I said, have you seen any Kung Fu movies? They said, we saw Seven Samurai.
Oh, no.
And exactly. And I said, listen, guys, you're making a baseball movie. You're watching football films.
Yeah.
Let me show you some baseball films. And I had all this stuff left over from the Kung Fu Extravaganza, which we'll all be at next month at San Diego Comic-Con. And I show them all that stuff. And what I ultimately taught them is, of course, just like, and this is true of any fight. This is true of martial arts as well. If you want to be a really good fighter, you don't fight. You don't attack. If you start a fight, something's wrong with you. If they start a fight, something's wrong with them, and you can take advantage of that as a smart kung fu guy. So but I digress.
So it's like in Enter the Dragon. It's the art of fighting without fighting.
Yes. or you let them hurt. Again, in kung fu, we're taught if someone wants to hurt themselves by trying to hurt you, you'll help them do it. This is why you never need this, because this is, again, as I keep teaching, this is just stupid. This is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. So here, but we'll be running into a lot of the fist on this show as well. So let me get on to Tai. Thank you for reminding me we're talking about Tai Chi Master. Tai Chi Master is a lot of fun. It gets better as it goes along. Nice. There are moments of wonderful silliness throughout, including the silkworm. There are all these enemy fighters who just come right out of, as Jim Kelly says, you're right out of a comic book in Enter the Dragon. So it's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of substance as well. There's a lot of real Tai Chi substance.
All right.
So it's worth seeing. And also it's funny, the director, Zhu Zhao Kong, he hasn't made a kung fu movie before. He made 2 monster movies. But now it's just, again, showing this wonderful thing that's happening in China now. More and more people are being allowed to do literal kung fu movie, not martial art movies, not wuxia movies, kung fu movies. And this is another great example. And also, this movie was made in 2022 and only got to Hi-yah now.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. You had me on Warriors on Kites, which kind of reminds me of Duel to the Death when you had the ninjas on kites.
Yeah, that's what I thought of as soon as I saw it. I said, these guys have been watching old Hong Kong films, and they're just putting in all these homages.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Before we move on, we got to say hello to chat. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. Michael Gonzalez, what's going on? Brian Sanchez, Kevin Lambert, the entertainment headquarters. Good to see you. Yeah. OGP Philip in the house. Was good to see John.
We have a yo-yo now. Yo-yo Mayo.
Yeah. John Bonney here. And he's been a channel member for 36 months, baby. Woohoo! That's right. Thank you so much for the support, John. And Michael Gonzalez in the house. What else we got here? Samuel Stokes. What's going on? OGP says, did Rick take one for the team and suffer through the Acolyte? Well, we're going to get to that. And I actually did a poll as well. Oh, shoot. Rob from Entertainment Talk Nation is watching right now. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, good to see you. All right. Now, next up, it's anime time. Now, Rick, you know I like my fighting anime. I like my manime.
Manime, that's great.
My fighting May.
What is that called? Fistame,
yeah. And Lady Fat Blood, my wife, she's all like, she saw the trailer for Garouden, The Way of the Lone Wolf. And she was like, oh, it's a baby May. It's right up your alley. She's like, baby, I found you a baby May. And I'm like, ooh. So we're going to get to that. And there's a reason why I wanted to talk about Baki, segue into Baki after this. I wanted to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I love the theme song. It's fire. The theme song is fire. The fight choreography is surprisingly very grounded for a fighting May, for an anime. Very grounded in terms of, as realistic as you can get. They were doing leg kicks. They're doing all this movement. I was like, oh, and it was pretty smooth.
Yeah, but it's not as realistic as you can get. Believe me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you.
Compared to Baki,
I've seen a lot of anime, martial arts anime, and this is not even close to as realistic as you can get. But this is the Fatame.
Yes.
This is Fatame, no question.
But compared to like Baki, where there's a character called Pickle, that he's an ancient caveman that can take out dinosaurs because he's that strong. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm comparing it to. But anyway, our lead here, he's like one of the best in his school, and there's an intruder in the dojo, and he used one of the special techniques to take out the intruder. He ends up killing him, and after that, he's like, "I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm ashamed. I didn't really want to do that." And so it's his journey and finding himself. Now, when you get to the ending, Rick, without spoiling it, I kind of expected it to happen, but because the character at some point seems distracted, because even his master looks at him at towards the end, and he's looking at him differently, like he's not focused, because the whole show he's just I want to
Well, he
I
doesn't
don't
want to
want to
be
fight.
there.
I don't
He
want to
didn't want to
fight.
be.
I don't want to do anything.
He still doesn't at the end.
Right. So it's kind of like I kind of expected the ending to be the way it was, but when I went up on IMDb, I was reading comments. So many people hate the ending. They hate it. And I was kind of like, well, I kind of expected it to be that, and there's going to be more. So they're setting up something. So, Rick, what do you think about The Way of the Lone Wolf?
Well, you alerted me to this because originally I was just going to do Baki because Baki came out in June on Netflix. You told me about Garouden, and I said, but it came out in May. But then you intrigued me with it, so I watched it, and I said, thank heaven, because that is the more fulfilled. It turns out that the Baki, we have Baki versus Kengan, which we're talking about next, and also Garouden is what is a 6 or 8 episode show.
Yeah, it's not long. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Baki is a 1 hour and 2 minute. I love the fact that it was 1 hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it turns out, I found out later that this is a movie ending to that story because there were 2 previous television series of Baki of 39 episodes each, which establishes it more and it was better. Baki versus Kengan was just kind of like, oh, we got an extra $50, so we're going to put this movie together. Right. Garouden is much more cohesive. I really loved, I love animation. And I always remind people that animation is 2 things. It's the design of the characters and, the looks and the creation of the sets and shit, animated sets. And it's also the actual animation, how characters move. And what's really cool about Garouden for me is that they'll do this kind of shot, which is, it's a stance shot. And so they save the animation for the parts that require animation and keep it still. And also they use stylized, because they obviously didn't have a lot of money. Right. So rather than showing the blood, they have, if you go back to the poster again, no, not that, the poster. The streaks. You see those streaks? Because in the animation, those don't move. Those are just like lines on his face that turn out to be his blood and the other character's blood. And so this, Baki is cave paintings compared to Garouden. Garouden is very intelligent. However, it is muscles fighting. But what's great about Japanese martial arts is they openly admit that it's not an art per se, it's a discipline. Mm-hmm. The samurai stuff, karate stuff, jiu-jitsu, it's only things like Aikido, which is more of an art. While the other stuff is they're teaching themselves to be more impressive and more powerful and more bushido. Right. So it's all very linear and all very, strikes like that. And Garouden is fighting. It's all these super muscle, but both of them, Baki and Garouden, are all these super ridiculously over-muscled a-holes punching each other. I always go back to that great line that I think Ian Hendry says when he's playing Napoleon in Time Bandits. I like watching little people hit each other. I like them hitting each other. And there's no question the Garouden and Baki, if you like people hitting each other, you come to the right place. But the Japanese are so artistic, it's hard for them to make something bad. Because there's the thing that makes me love Baki more than Garouden. I admit that Garouden is better on a objective level. Yeah. But the thing I loved about Baki is that there's a sequence in the middle of the movie where they're because basically it's these guys who arrange fights, putting together the new gang to make all this
organizations
money.
Come together.
Both of them are like that. And they get the absolute best fighters, and they're all, again, look at the muscles. They're all ridiculously muscled. Yeah. And also they'll beat each other in such a way that normally would kill anyone. But of course, nobody, even though there are scenes of flesh ripping off bone and all the rest of it, nobody actually gets hurt. So that's another problem. However, there's a moment in Baki where two muscle-bound characters, where we have the one organizer versus the other organizer. Say, oh wait, Joey is coming, and the other one goes, oh yeah, but wait, Tommy is coming too. So Joey and Tommy get there, and they have to wait through all these other fights of the main guys.
Yeah. Both
of them, Tommy and Johnny, which is not their actual names, have to go to the bathroom. They had too much to drink.
Yeah.
And so one goes to the bathroom.
Right.
And he goes around the corner, and there's the hallway with the bathroom. And the other guy comes around the other hall, and they see each other. And they stop because they're going to fight. And they just stare at each other. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but the thing I love about it is they get it's psychological.
Yeah.
In other words, it's telling you the personality of these guys, which the fighting doesn't tell you. The fighting is just mindless, basically, and physiology-free video gaming kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what really nailed this show for me is at the very end, they have the credits. There's an after-credit scene of the two guys still in the hall.
It's hands in pockets.
Hands in pockets going, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. And I went, oh, this is genius.
Yeah.
All I need is that. I want that as a 2-second clip on my thing, my avatar. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. All you need to know about martial arts. No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, but overall, I enjoyed the fight sequences.
Me too.
But
it's not great.
I have a nitpick. I have a nitpick. The lead character here, he won all of his fights almost the same way with armbar. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Have him win another way. Nope, armbar. He's beat the guy with an armbar. I'm like, oh. So I got a little repetitive, but
it's just like wrestling. It's just like WWE. In other words, they have their finishing move.
Yeah.
So that's what the audience expects. Because of course, we enjoyed this from a Netflix standpoint, but the people in Japan know these characters.
Yeah.
And they want what they want. And
but back to Baki, the separate series, Kengan and Ashura, I'm big fans of both. Mm-hmm. They're way more entertaining, better animation, fluid, really over the top, almost superhero like martial arts.
Absolutely.
But this was a fun little. It was a fun little like let's do this. What if they meet?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
I recommend both.
No, you go. I do too. Especially if you're more like Phat than you are like me.
Yeah. Phat
you can still enjoy. If you don't, even if you're like me, you still will probably enjoy it because they're good.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're really well done.
Hold on a second. I didn't know Rob. Oh, Rob's actually streaming what we're streaming right now on his channel. Well, thank you so much, brother. Hello, ETN Nation. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I didn't know. I just now saw that.
And speaking of Japan,
okay, all right.
Our next one,
Ultraman Rising. Now, Rick, I am an Ultraman fan. Mm-hmm. Now, is this movie for fans of all Ultramen? Or let me rephrase that. Can anyone enjoy this? Young and old, or is this just for babies?
Have you seen it?
No.
It's interesting because last month we didn't talk about IF, Imaginary Friends, the John Krasinski movie.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I was going to say this is the Japanimation. It's not. This was written and directed by two Westerners.
Huh.
This is Shannon Tyndall, who worked for, worked on QB and the Two Strings, as well as Coraline. What's the name of that company who does those? Oh, Coraline.
Yeah, I enjoy
I'm blanking on it.
Yeah.
Kubo, yeah. She worked on that, and John Oishima, even though he worked on DuckTales, which I love. The Disney
most recent one, right?
Yeah, the most recent one. So they're not, they love Japanese stuff, but they decided, basically they did the IF Imaginary Friend version of Ultraman. Did you see this, by the way?
No, I have not seen it yet. Yeah.
As a big fan of Ultraman, I'd be very curious as to what you thought, because I'm also a big fan of Ultraman. And we have to come up with another word other than woke. It's not woke. It's Westerners doing a variation, taking the character and say, wouldn't it be interesting if this happened to this guy? And one of the problems with IF, which is I find one of the problems with this, is that they take it way too seriously.
Okay.
Way too seriously. It's, again, just like IF, it's about parents and children.
Right.
And as such, it's good, as is IF. But it's not, neither of these are really fun. Because the emotion, Leica, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me know the name of the company that Kuba. Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I'd be very curious as to huge fans, because at the same time I'm going, I'm not enjoying this. I'm appreciating this. I'm admiring this, but I'm really not enjoying it.
Okay.
I'm not sure why. I mean, I understand that they want the leading character to be more mature, but my action is, why? This is Ultraman. Why do you want this to be more emotionally resonant from a parental situation? I mean, if you're going to do a story like that, do a story like that. You can create you don't have to use Ultraman as your ticket to ride.
Well, look at this. Look at the animation style, especially from the little kaiju baby. So I wouldn't think there would be something extremely serious going on.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
But there is.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Are there any good fights or action in it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you define good. In other words, Ultraman does, and the Ultra Force does their usual routine. But there's this extra layer of emotional resonance that, I personally could have done without.
Okay.
So
it kind of sounds like a pass to me. So I don't know.
Listen, what's great about Netflix, if you have it, you have it. So you can fast forward. Again, I'm going to be talking about the FFSs here, fast forward specials.
Your film.
So you can just fast forward to the first thing that happens. It took me a while to find the first thing that happens in Ultraman.
Yeah.
So use that as a best judgment.
All right. Next up, Rick, how does Jessica Alba pull off being a special ops commando in Trigger Warning? How does that work out?
Surprisingly well.
Really?
However, you haven't seen it, have you?
No.
I got news for you.
Okay.
Put that poster up again.
Okay.
This is what is called bait and switch. Because they sold it as she's a special forces officer, and she is.
Okay.
In the first 15 minutes of the movie. And then it becomes Roadhouse 2.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
No.
And
so
when
she's saying this is in the beginning.
This is in the beginning. This is the best fight scene in the movie. It's a little nonsense, but it makes sense. I really like it because it's directed by a woman, a fascinating woman named Muli Surya. And she does a movie every 5 years. You look at her credits, she directs a movie every 5 years. And I'm going, that should be interesting. And it's written by the guy who also wrote Brother's Son. And it's choreographed by the guy who did Brother's Son. And also, more importantly, Day Shift. Day Shift was one of the
J.J.
Netflix
Perry.
movies. Yeah. No, Eric Brown.
Okay.
Day Shift was that movie about the guys hunting vampires.
Yeah.
And so they had some snappy choreography in this. And at the opening of the movie, they do some really snappy choreography for her. But as the movie goes on and becomes more and more Roadhouse, her skills become less and less. And at the ending, a spoiler alert, as if you should care. Right. Her father's killed. She's trying to find the guy. Everybody in town is corrupt. She finds, the lead cop. The lead cop commits suicide at the end, but he does it by taking a grenade, pulling the pin, dropping it in between the two of them. And she turns and jumps. It explodes. He's dead. She's not touched.
Oh my God.
And I sort of went, what a shame.
Yeah.
Most of the reviews say this, and I agree with most of the reviews.
Okay.
Jessica does her all, but she's sabotaged by an increasingly. You watch the first 20 minutes.
That's it. Okay.
You've seen the best of the movie.
Copy that. Hold on a second. Kevin's been a member for 39 months. Channel member. Thank you so much for your awesome support, brother. He goes, "Hey, PhatSamuraiGuy, will you be doing a reaction to the new Hellboy film?" Rick, I finished your book. It was a great read.
Which book? Which book?
Let us know which book, Kevin.
I'm assuming it's Films of Fury, but
probably.
But look, there's a bunch of books I've done. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't even know a new Hellboy movie was coming, and somebody on Facebook, shout out to that awesome person, sent me this. He's like, "You got to react to this," and I'm just like, "Oh God." So, I'll get to it when I get to it this week.
Have you ever loved any of the other Hellboy movies?
I enjoyed the first two. Is Del Toro. I enjoyed them.
Okay, you enjoyed them. I've never loved any of them.
Right.
I enjoyed them.
Right.
I enjoyed Del Toro.
Entertaining. Yeah.
But I never loved any of them. But Hellboy's another one of those characters that like
you probably like the animated movies with Ron Perlman voice acting.
Those are better, but still,
yeah.
It's a hero who's just self-defeating in terms of his powers and all the rest of it. What's the other one that the guy? Why am I blanking on the name of it? They've made a couple of movies with this, but anyway, it's Hellboy. Yeah,
you're talking about the David Arbor one that came out after. I don't know if I'm the guy with the cape who's dead already, and he was it Frank Miller? Oh man, it's terrible getting old, people. I'm telling you, it's terrible getting old. Yeah,
I'm thinking about these movies. If I think of it during it, but it's another superhero who's kind of there's nothing to hang on to. But
the Spirit?
No, the Spirit's great. This is another guy he has a cowl, big thing. The guy who makes all the toys now, he makes all the action figures. Todd McFarlane. Spawn. Yeah, Spawn is another one of those. Spawn and Hellboy are the same kind of character. There's absolutely nothing to hold on to.
Did you say the Spirit is great?
Yeah, the Spirit. Will Eisner is the Spirit.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Frank Miller's movie.
No. The movie is horrible, but the original characters, the comics are just awesome.
Right, copy that.
All right, let's move on.
All right, we're going to move on now. Okay. Now, this actor, I'm seeing this actor a lot.
Yeah.
He just pops up. He's in that upcoming movie, Twisters.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to be any good, but we'll.
It should be fun.
How's Hitman?
Hitman is well. Let me put it this way: there is no fight choreographer. There is no stunt arranger. There's no action coordinator. It's not an action movie. It's a Richard Linklater. Me too. It's a Richard Linklater, a comedy, drama, romance, smart movie. Richard Linklater is one of the great filmmakers. He made the Midnight series, After Midnight, Before Midnight. He made the Boyhood, not the Boyhead, the Boyhood movie, which he filmed over a series of like 30 years. Well, he's done both of those movies. And what I love about him is that basically, as far as I can tell, Netflix is going to every major filmmaker and says, if you make a Hitman movie for us, we'll pay for it.
Right.
What was that last one with David Fincher made a Hitman movie.
Right, with Michael Fassbender, yeah.
Michael Fassbender. So he had that approach. And so Richard Linklater has his approach. And of course, me being me, I loved his approach, because the approach is, the whole idea of it is that this is just a teacher who, through circumstances, is brought into a police operation to try to put hopeful hitmen in jail, guys who want to be hitmen.
Okay.
And he does that actually, what they're trying to do is bring people to justice who want a hitman to kill someone. So he has to pretend to be their hitman and get them to confess that, okay, now you killed this guy this day, and here's the money. And as soon as they give him the money, they're arrested. So the reason on the poster you see all the different versions of him, because he gets into it. He starts creating the hitman character specifically for the person they're trying to arrest. to get
Okay.
them into it. But
Yeah.
as he says, but he winds up falling in love with a woman who's wants her because she wants to hire him to kill her boyfriend slash no, I think it's her husband because he's abusive, he's horrible, he's a terrible man. And so he realizes that she's not doing it like all the other scumbags. So they start having a relationship. But what's great is he has this wonderful talk with her, and he's saying, "Look, there are no hitmen. The only hitmen you ever see are in movies. That's not real. I mean, the mafia kills other people." And I just love that approach, which is, because, my attitude, according to the movies, every 25th person is an assassin. Everyone living on the earth right now. Two out of 8 billion, 2 billion people are assassins according to the movies.
Right.
So this is a movie that says that's bullshit. But by the end of it, something happens, and again, the whole movie made me go, It's not action per se, but okay. And I won't. Unless you want me to get. Does anybody? Everybody vote. Does anybody care for me to? For spoiler alert.
Spoil it.
At the end of it, he is a hitman, and so is she. She's a hit woman.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And they never do it again, but they don't need to do it again. But they do it here, and I love that attitude of that justice, which is, no, we're doing nobody any favors by letting this person live. This guy is an awful human being. So let's put him down like a dog. And they do.
Okay.
And again,
Nice.
they do it they do it smartly. They don't do it stupidly. That's another great thing about all the characters have a sense. That's another thing I love in these movies. In Trigger Warning, nobody has a sense of humor. Nobody has a sense of humor. This guy and this woman, one of the reasons they're made for each other, they both have a sense of humor. And they use their brains. So that's, it's worth seeing, even though it's not an action movie per se. Here's what we're going to, because we're going to get into several movies about this. It's action of the mind. It's mind candy. It's not eye candy, although there's also eye candy in this. But it's food for the mind. It's action for the mind. It's really good. Right. And speaking of that.
Now, I love my shark movies when they're good. And I love my shark movies when they're good bad. When they're schlock but entertaining, I can enjoy them too. But if the shark movies are bad, then I'll pass. There's more bad shark movies than good and good bad. Yep. But Under Paris, I am intrigued, Rick. When I saw this on your list, I was like, ooh, I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I got to watch it with Lady Fat Blood. We love Jaws and all that stuff. But I put it in the queue right away.
You got to see it.
So. Okay. Oh man, I'm excited.
I heard friends of mine were saying you got to see it, because I wasn't planning to see it because I figured it was just going to be a ripoff movie. It is not. It is very much in the spirit. A wonderful thing happens again in the first 15 minutes that made me go, "Oh, I see where you're going. I see where you're coming from, and I see where you're going." And the main character, they don't show her on the poster, right? It's just a shark on the poster. It's that's right. You're absolutely right.
Wow, that's high praise.
Oh, absolutely, no question. But I was going to say, and see if you noticed this too, sir, that the leading character is an oceanographer. She's not in the poster, but she's the main character, and she's dealing with these sharks and the shark school. And because she's dragged, this is in the first 15 minutes, first half hour. Oh, you are? I agree with you, man.
Okay.
I thought it was the best one. But there's a wonderful shout out to Jaws in the first 15 minutes where the leading character is dragged down into the depths. And in order to survive, she has to get to the surface fast enough. And you know what happens when you go too fast getting to the surface? You get the bends. And she rises out of the water amongst all this plastic garbage, because the first sequence happens in these floating islands of plastic garbage that are all over the world.
Yeah.
And she comes out of the water in slow motion with her mouth gaping with blood pouring out of her face.
Wow.
And I'm going, they're doing the poster from Jaws.
Right.
They did the poster from Jaws. But she's the character. And as the movie goes on, spoiler alert, it turns out she's not the hero. The person on the right is not the hero. The thing on the left is the hero.
A what?
The whole thing,
Interesting.
turns into a disaster movie.
Oh,
But
okay.
the sharks are the protagonists, because basically it's a movie where the French are saying, you know what the problem with the world is? Humans. So we're going to have a character, ever since Jaws, sharks, of course, have been treated like shit. Because okay, we got to kill them all. So this is the shark revenge movie.
I'm not hating that, actually.
This is the Jaws of the revenge, and it's really done well. And again, I've given away too much already because there's all these surprises, all these smart little moments, all these surprises. It's the filmmakers looking at the audience going, you think we're a ripoff of Jaws? Well, guess what? We are, but we're doing it our way. And we're going to do it. So if you come along for the ride, you should have a good time. And if you like sharks, you come to the right place.
All right. Under Paris, baby. I'm down. I am down. Now, the reason why everyone's watching, the reason why everyone's here right now, we're going to get into Star Wars, The Acolyte. But before that, I did a poll just for fun on the community post here on the YouTube channel. And I posted, I said, well, just for funsies, what is the worst live action Disney Plus Star Wars movie so far, or at least the most disappointing? And look what won the post there. The Acolyte won.
What could it have been? Well,
I
of
know.
course,
Book of Boba Fett's really close. Book of Boba Fett's really close, but
and I agree with this estimation.
Nice.
The Acolyte is effed up.
Now,
the Acolyte is effed up.
Now, I want everybody. Okay, did you guys hear what Rick just said? Now, what Rick has, proudly stated in the past on the previous episodes, Rick is quadruple woke. Rick was woke.
I've been woke since 1965.
Since 1965, before woke was popular. Okay,
read my effing books.
Yeah, read his book. Rick has been woke before woke was a popular thing.
Yeah,
and Rick just said that. You guys heard what he just said about the Acolyte. Now,
the Acolyte is not bad because it's woke.
Okay,
it's bad because it's bad.
Okay.
In other words, being woke has nothing to do. I mean, if they did their woking well, then I wouldn't be saying it sucked.
Right.
They don't do their woking well. They don't do much of. I like in the first two episodes when the Jedi were still the Jedi. I liked their fight scenes. The Carrie-Anne Moss fight scene, the first fight scene with our Korean star. That's why I put that picture. I also have another picture of Carrie-Anne Moss again, just standing there as the Acolyte or the girl tries to stab her. But both, you see what they're doing, and that's what she does in the other picture as well, which is he doesn't dodge wildly. He's not trying to avoid the first thing in Kung Fu. Again, we're taught you only move as much as you have to. So if the fist stops here, you stop here. If they can't touch it, that's all you have to worry about. And the first fight, but when Carrie-Anne Moss dies, anyway, I sort of went, well, that's effed up. Because you showed me how she was fighting, and she was fighting extremely well and very smartly, and then she lets herself be knifed. And it's like, that is effed up, man. And so, but it fits with the message this show seems to be putting out, which is that at the beginning of the story, the Jedi are the Jedi that I remember, that I love, from all the books when I was a kid, from the movies when I was a kid. Yeah. I think I've said that one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in a movie theater was seeing the second show of the first day of the original Star Wars in New York at the Lowe's Astor Plaza. Wow. And just getting my mind blown. It was just incredible. So that's the Jedi and the Return of the Jedi. The Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi I wasn't too happy with. Right. But that was the Jedi I knew. So here we have a show where they're saying, the more mentally corrupt the Jedi get, the worse fighters they are, which is why we can kill them. So the message for me of this show is that the Jedi suck.
Right.
And I'm going, and that moment, again, I keep waiting. We're going to get back into this also when we get to Doctor Who, which is there's in the 60 years of Doctor Who, and Star Wars was like 78. So how many years is that? That's almost 30 years, 40 years or whatever.
Yeah.
In the 40 years, I keep wanting them to get back to their nugget. And the nugget in Star Wars was we have to bring balance to the Force. There's a big moment in the Acolyte where he says, I've accepted my hate. What have you done with yours? And I looked at the guy and said, well, answer him. They don't. It's like, it's super simple. We all have love. We all have hate. We all have like. We all have dislike. Balance, balance, balance. We all have bad and good in ourselves. Balance it. But this show is all about, you know, how scummy the Jedi are. And it's like, well, I don't have time for this. And also they stopped fighting well. There's some really cool lightsaber battles.
I heard the last lightsaber fight was like the best, I guess.
It is and it isn't. Because in other words, I used a word that I hate, which is cool. I don't like fights that are cool, because it's just like a director or producer saying, oh, it's a roller coaster. You'll love this action movie because it's like a roller coaster. It's a thrill ride. And that's their definition of it's brainless. Right. And when they say it's cool, that means it's cool looking. In other words, when they were making the movie of the original series of the Avengers, you know, John Steed and Emma Peel.
Right. Yeah.
They wanted John Steed to be cool. I said, no, you don't want him to be cool. You want him to be charming, because that's emotional. Cool is surface level. That's what 80% of Hollywood producers are into, surface level. Trying to talk, saying that they're making a movie for an audience when they're actually making the movie for themselves, and they're talking down to the audience because they don't know the audience. So again, you know, the more I see, and I've watched that supposedly greatest, lightsaber battle. Fight, yeah. I've watched that multiple times, and you'll know. And again, that's the thing that your opening, the action film Autopsy opening taught me when I was watching it tonight. The difference between go back and watch the opening of action film Autopsy over and over and over again, especially the scenes that have swords in them, and then watch the Acolyte's cool lightsabers. One has substance, one has nothing, has superficiality. It's just flashing. And it's the difference between a performer who has been studying how to do samurai sword fighting or ninja sword fighting or Tai Chi sword fighting for decades, and actors who have been trained for a couple of weeks or months. That's the difference. One is substance, one is superficiality. And so you look at that fight scene again, what's memorable about that fight scene is that it's a slaughter. But it's not even a really good slaughter like a Sam Peckinpah film like The Wild Bunch.
Yeah.
It's just a slaughter. And if you watch it, it's just pretty lights being thrown around. Because they don't have the people being trained. I mean, the leading actor, the guy who's from that comedy show, I forgot his name, the Asian actor, not the
Squid
hero.
Game.
The Squid Game. That's the nominally the hero. No, the villain. The one who's revealed.
Okay.
He's a comedian. He's the best actor in the whole thing.
Oh wow.
His stuff. He hits stances. He hits legitimate stances. So did the Squid Game guy. But the rest of it is just flashy because it's a bunch of people just throwing lights around. It's like being at a concert, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But and the thing that I love heroes. I grew up in a very difficult situation, so I always gravitate to heroes, not to villains. I gravitate to James Bond and Sherlock Holmes, not Dracula. And so the thing I like least about the Acolyte is there's no one to root for.
Wow.
No one. Everybody, you know, all these people are just like, could somebody just use their brain for a second?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, and find the middle path rather than, you know.
Yeah. How many more episodes is left? It's not done yet.
I don't care. All I'm going to do from now on
Okay.
is go to Screen Crush or New Rockstars and watch their
breakdown or whatever.
breakdowns.
Yeah.
I don't want to put myself through it.
Wow, man.
It makes me unhappy.
Another crushing blow.
Yeah, and
Well,
speaking of being unhappy,
before we get to Doctor Who, oh no, we're continuing the sadness. All I have to say is I am so happy that I don't care. I have checked out of Disney Star Wars for a while now, so I don't even care. I don't even care enough to get angry.
Good.
So, yeah,
there's enough anger in the world.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Rick. I know a while back you seemed positive in the beginning with Doctor Who. What happened, Rick? What happened?
What happened is that they ended the first season, and everything they set up in the first season, they basically said, "Fuck you."
Oh,
in other words, it became. I'm not a fan of Lost. I liked Lost when it started, but by the end of the first season, I stopped watching it because I knew they had asked so many questions and set up so many mysteries and did so many setups. I said, I'm going to wait till the last season and see if they pay off any of them or if they answer any of them. And they don't. Certainly not satisfyingly.
right.
Far from it. Doctor Who is setting up the whole season. And then in the last episode, they do a Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yay.
The whole idea is that the new companion has some mystery about her. And they're trying to solve the mystery. And as the show goes on, she can make it snow at any given point. She can go through time. There's all sorts of things she can do. And at the end of and each of the individual episodes were pretty good.
Okay.
Actually very good in some cases, but the whole first season was all about the mystery of her. And at the end, it's kind of like, no mystery. The snow thing, we're not going to explain it.
Wow.
We're not going to explain it. And what's great is that my favorite YouTube channel for the Doctor Who stuff is called Who Culture. And they did the last episode, and again, yeah, we liked it. But then the next day, there was a new video going, wait a minute.
It hit him late.
Because the whole story does not work at all. It doesn't work at all. And also arrogantly. This episode, boom, bubble, and whatever the next. Each of the individual episodes, except for the very first episode, which really makes no sense at all, and I'm not sure why they did it. Each of the individual episodes are pretty good, but the overarching story that connects all the episodes, it was really a complete screw you. And they've already filmed the second season, so I'm afraid it's going to continue. But at least it's better than the last iteration. He's great, she's great, beautifully made, but the overarching story is very unsatisfying, very disappointing, very insulting. And if I get to meet the Russell T Davies, the showrunner, I will tell him so. The other thing that really upset me is that Shooty got he's terrific. However, they have him cry in every single episode. Did I mention this last time?
No.
That I told Jackie Chan this.
You might have, but I don't remember.
There was a period of time when Jackie Chan would cry in every movie, and I was out. This was back in 2001. I was in Hong Kong working with Jackie on what turned out to be the Medallion, and I got out of that quick. But he would cry in every movie. And I went to see a screening of, I think, The Accidental Spy or whatever, where again he's crying or the New Police Story. And just like everybody who tolerates me, they tolerate me because they know I will tell them the truth.
Yeah.
As I see it, I will tell them my truth. I won't try to suck up to them. And I said, look, the more you cry, the less effective it gets. Go see $1 Million Baby, which was out then, Clint Eastwood's movie.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire movie, he tries not to cry. He's given more and more reason to cry. He keeps trying not to cry. But at the very end, in the hospital room, he cries, and man, it's like a punch in the face. It's like a punch in the stomach. It's a punch in the heart. It's a punch in the brain. It's a punch in the kidney. It's a punch everywhere you could be punched.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, Jackie, that's what you want to do. So here we have Judy Gatwa crying in every episode. It's kind of like,
Why?
again, that was my question. But then I realized as I went through it, he also does something else in every episode. He'll cry in every episode and he'll overreact to something very middling in every episode, which means there's this great shot they keep showing where she goes, "We can do that." And he goes, "That is fantastic." And he does that in every episode too. He overreacts. And suddenly I got a fish in the face and ice in my soul because I recognized the behavior. I was born of a schizophrenic mother. My father took me away from her before I even was aware, but the things happened in my first 3 years that I will never know, and it has affected my entire life. What are you going to do? But he then married someone who turned out to be manic depressive. I recognize the behavior. The new doctor is manic depressive. The series is schizophrenic. And that's just what I needed. My first mother is schizophrenic. My stepmother is manic depressive. Doctor Who is a schizophrenic base with a manic depressive hero. I'm going, oh no.
Wow.
So yeah, he's wonderful. I hope they recover. I hope somebody speaks honestly to Russell T Davies and says, "Come on, man.
Yeah.
Treat him the way Doctor Who should have been treated. Treat him the way you used to treat Doctor Who." And also because he's ripping off the Rise of Skywalker by having supposedly the leading female character being born of a mysteriously powerful person, but then they turn it into just a normal person. Then they turn it back into a powerful person the way they did with Rey and stuff.
I'm already exhausted.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get revenge. I think he's trying to sabotage Disney. Or why else would he take something that didn't work with fans in the first place and do it again to the Doctor? Oh, you bastard. So anyway.
Are they planning on more seasons with?
Oh, yeah, they've already filmed the second.
Okay.
The second season is finished, and I think they're filming the third season now.
So fingers crossed.
The ratings aren't good.
Oh.
And I'm going, I wonder why.
Yeah.
You make something unsatisfying, and we'll find out the reason why when we get to our next subject here.
All right. Dragons be in this house.
Season of the Dragon, season 2.
Season 2.
They're taking. I know
you enjoyed the first season.
It's a great show. It's an amazing show. And what's great, what's amazing, and this is what's bringing my main point for this whole episode, which is that, again, in this show and House of the Dragon 2, there's nobody to root for either. There's nobody to root for either. Okay. There's nobody I can love, but everybody is fascinating. And it is so well done. And they're also taking revenge for the final season of Game of Thrones, which didn't work at all. So they are following George R.R. Martin to the word, to the letter.
Good.
They're emotionally honest. And even though the characters are not, nobody's a hero. No, there's nobody to root for, but they are honestly that way. They're understandably that way. And they're fascinating. They're all, because I don't care about any of them, except in the first episode, there was a battle. It was one of the great sequences in terms of the filmmakers using their brains. They had a Civil War situation where one twin is assigned to kill, one twin is assigned to protect. And they wind up fighting each other. And the one who's assigned to protect wins and then commits suicide because he's killed his twin brother.
Oh, wow.
And again, bam, right in the heart. And I was going, you guys, you know what you're doing. You're doing it extremely well. The acting is all exceptional. I love Matt Smith, who was one of the last great Doctor Who's.
He was great. Yeah.
So
he's a great doctor.
And he's great in this. It's highly recommended. As an example, we'll get into, remind me if I forget, we'll get into why is one show which doesn't have anybody to root for terrible, and why is one show which doesn't have anybody to root for great? I will explain as we get to the last thing we're going to be talking about this episode.
All right. We're on a roll here. Next up, now, I am a fan of the first two.
Mm-hmm.
The third one disappointed me. The third one had its moments,
Yeah.
but I hated what they did with Will Smith's character in the third one, which was garbage. I was not happy with the third one. I do not own it on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw the trailer for this one, and I was like, okay, Martin looks like he's awake. He looks like he's awake this time.
He also looks like he's...
They're trying to get a little clever with the action set pieces, at least with the camera work. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So, well, Rick, Bad Boys Ride or Die, the fourth film.
It's made by the same people who did the third film.
Okay.
Which is I'm looking at the wrong thing. Adil and Bilal. They're double. They also made Batgirl, the movie that was canned.
Oh wow.
They also did Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus. Let me put it this way. They're having a lot of fun with this movie.
Okay.
And I had a lot of fun with it too. There's
all
two.
Right.
Now, Martin Lawrence looks ill. He looks awake, but he also looks like he's been having a lot of Botox. Is
he ill?
I don't know. Apparently there's little hints of MS. There's little hints. And also the way I'm going to be fascinated to see how you feel about the way they treat Will in this. There's a moment in this movie which is a lot like the you go pee. There's a moment near the end of this movie which is so smart on the part of the filmmakers because the Will Smith character in this movie has PTSD. He keeps freezing up. Every time he should save the day, he keeps freezing up. And it's really cool because that was one of the things that I teach whenever I teach film class. When I did my lecture to Disney about the art of screen action, as an example, I always say in the first fight, have the hero hit in the chest. Then he goes to the doctor, which is something heroes don't do, of course, because they're all invulnerable. And the doctor says, oh, your sternum is broken. It's cracked. It's not broken. It's cracked. If you're hit there again, it'll break off and go into your heart and it'll kill you. And what's great about that is that it instantly involves the audience in the fate of our hero. Because for every single fight that happens for the rest of the movie, you're watching him. Is he going to protect himself? Okay. You're watching his sternum. Whenever something comes out of his sternum, you're, as an audience member, oh, look out for that. That's creating involvement. So his PTSD, it's not done as smartly as that, but it's still done well. And also, it also gives Martin Lawrence something to do because he keeps on going, snap at it.
Okay.
So at the very last instance where, it's like his wife is about to be killed, Will Smith freezes. What does Martin Lawrence do? Cosmic karma. What does Martin Lawrence do? I was going to say Martin Lewis, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Right. Martin Lawrence. What does he do? Think, Phat. What does he do? What's the biggest thing that Will Smith is known for today?
Slapping.
What does Martin Lawrence do?
No, he slaps him?
Bam! It's a great moment, and I swear, watch Will Smith's reaction. Because it's kind of like, at first he's surprised, and then he was like, there's this look on his face like going, oh yeah, I deserve that. I thought that was just funny. Flatly brilliant. I just thought that was awesome. And then, of course, he gets to go boom. He gets to get the gun.
Okay.
Do it. So I think you'll enjoy it. I enjoyed it because the filmmakers are sort of like going, we got nothing to lose. Because Will Smith and Martin Lawrence kind of went, do what you want. And they went, we will.
All right. It sounds like it's a lot better than the third one. That's all I needed to hear.
I hope you agree.
Yeah.
I want people to like their movies. Even when I don't like a movie that someone else is like, I always say, "I'm glad you liked it. I wish I did," and then I'll tell them why I didn't. But okay. Now next, speaking of that,
up, yes, the first of a 4-part.
Maybe more. He originally wanted to
goodness.
do 9. He originally wanted to do 9
9?
parts. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Horizon, the American Saga, Part 1 here has dropped. You know what I find to be so funny, Rick,
What's
is
that?
every time we have a Western come out that gets a lot of buzz, the first thing they always say, and this happens all the time, you can go all the way back to Quigley Down Under with Tom Selleck. They always say, the Western is back. They always say that. And then it disappears and it goes away. But I'm a fan of the Westerns. But with this movie, Rick, is the Western back?
Yes, it is. However, there's more to it than that.
Okay.
If this had come out, in a world with no past and no future, at least a Kevin Costner, no past, no future, it would be very interesting. It's the first part. There's a problem.
Okay.
He was on that wonderful show. He's on the Taylor Sheridan show, which he left to Yellowstone, which is a really good Western. The Western is back, a modern Western. This is beautifully photographed. It is Costner, who did Dances with Wolves, retelling of how the West was won, or how the West was ruined by settlers.
Okay.
It's about what white settlers did to the Indians, what they did to the slaves. It's again telling America its flaws and its stupidity, but it also takes place at the time of the Civil War. And it's all these characters who are leaving the East Coast to get away from the Civil War, creating their own wars and their own hatreds and their own stupidities out west. Costner plays a terrific character, very capable, a heroic character, someone you can latch onto. However, here's the magic phrase. He does not appear in the film until the end of the first hour.
What?
Kevin has chosen to bet it all and has not made any alternative plans. In other words, you watch this movie and you go, why is it dragging? I mean, by the time I was finished, it was like watching Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon movies. By the time I finished it, I had been I'd been re-editing it all along. Absolutely no reason this should be 3 hours. Absolutely none. Basically, you're showing disrespect for your audience. However, you're not showing disrespect for your lovers. People who absolutely adore you, there's plenty to enjoy in this. But for the regular audience, and again, I see this criticism and I have to agree with it, he didn't make a movie. He made a television miniseries into a movie.
Okay.
And so if he had put out the first 3 episodes the first movie as 3 episodes, 3-hour episodes, it would have been better because it would have been broken up. It's still worth it, Egg. It's still worth it. It's still beautiful to watch, but understand, if you guys do the chewables or whatever, relax. Go to the Alamo Drafthouse if it still exists, and just relax. Have stuff to eat. Enjoy. It's beautifully photographed. The action is well done.
Okay.
It has brains, but man, he's taken his time. He's just sort of like going, I'm going to do what I want. That's why I left the show. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to be in complete control, and I choose to do this. Okay, man, you're asking for it, and you got it. It may work out for him because it is a good movie. It's just
did it not do well in the box office? Michael's point.
No, it didn't. Of course, it didn't do well in the box office.
3 hours, right. 3-hour Western.
And also, there are more
Which I'm
people.
fine with. I'm perfectly fine with that.
There were more people. What was the Taylor Sheridan show called again?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. There are more people who will see Yellowstone than will ever see your movie, and you have betrayed all them. You betrayed all them. You said, "I'm leaving. I don't give a shit," and it's like the audience went, "What the hell, man?"
Yeah.
$5 Tuesday. That's fine. That's fine. Or wait for it comes on. Wait for it to be streaming.
It'll be streaming soon
if you have a good stream. Oh yeah, that's right. It'll probably be streaming by next month.
Yeah. All right. So it sounds like it's well done, beautifully made. It's just
and I also wanted to mention that the action is done by Norman Howell and his son Kanan. This is the first time I've seen it with. I mean, Norman is one of the great giants of stunt arranging. He's done almost 200 jobs, and he's done a bunch of them with Costner. He also did a bunch of television shows as well. So now he's working with his son. So it's kind of cool. The action is good. The stunts are worthwhile.
Okay.
And it's also, I might add, they had visual effects in it, but you can't really tell, which is great. It's great. Real horses, real people. It's something you can hold on to. And real photography of real places.
Copy that. All right.
Now, this is how you do it, folks. This is how you do it.
Rick, has it been a while? Has it been a while that Pixar did a great sequel?
No, not really. Their sequels have been pretty good, because usually when they do a sequel, it's because the first movie was a huge hit.
Right.
And this is the new, Bob Iger's approach to things, which is get the best ones we can possibly. That's why there's going to be a sequel to Zootopia. There always should have been. Inside Out 1 was $1 billion. Zootopia was $1 billion. Of course, you should do more movies, but you should do it the way they did this one.
Okay.
And the reason, again, look at the box office of Horizon, look at the box office of Bad Boys, look at the box office of whatever else, and then look at the box office of this. People have been waiting not for a sequel to Inside Out. They've been waiting for a great movie.
I like that.
That's if I started writing reviews professionally more than 50 years ago in 1973. I started writing books about movie genres starting in like 1977, 78. And there's one thing all of this stuff has in common. The one thing I have noticed, the movies that are the biggest successes are the ones that are the best movies. They're the best films. That's why, the whole thing about Marvel and Avengers Endgame drives me crazy. That was a great movie. That's why it did so well, because it spoke to everybody. Again, laugh at the same time, cry at the same time, cheer at the same time.
Yep.
Multiple times. Same thing with Inside Out. And it's also one of the great action movies of all time.
Really?
The final fight it's what's, again, mind candy. It's a literal fight inside the character's mind. The whole movie is about the characters' minds. The anxiety attack, notice it has that action word. It's an anxiety. It's not an anxiety bout. It's not an anxiety moment. It's an anxiety attack. Have you ever had an anxiety attack? Everyone who has loves this movie. I had anxiety attacks back in the day with my horrible mothers. So, of course, when I saw this, I went, oh my God, they know exactly what this is all about. But it also, they communicate it to the audience. And the way you fight an anxiety attack, all action words, is how they show it. This movie is so smart, so brilliant, so understandable, so and all these great words about, so empathetic, so it's just a magnificent movie. And everyone, the children, the adults, the males, the females, every color reacts the same to this movie.
Nice.
Which is, wow.
Good. That's how it should be.
You feel it. You feel it.
Emotional content.
Emotional content.
Nice.
It's just such a wonderful, warm, loving, smart, mind candy movie, but also, Frank, great eye candy too.
Yeah.
But
Frank.
yeah. But again, you'll note if you want to, it's not easy to make a great film, but it can be done. They've shown how to do it.
Nice.
And go see it, everybody.
Okay. All right.
And
Very
you don't
nice.
need to, you don't need to go to the theaters. It's already made its money back. Yeah.
Right.
But just see it. Just see it.
Copy that. All
See
right.
how it makes you feel.
Nice. Copy that. Well, before we do Rick's recap, and then we have a new segment, Ask Rick Anything. Before we get to those questions, really quick, a reminder for everybody watching.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Oh, yeah. Also, let me do a quick finale, which is the difference between scripts is structure. The difference between Inside Out 2, Inside Out 2, and Doctor Who or The Acolyte is you have to structure. For every, Hitchcock said, if you set up a tension in the audience, you are duty bound to release it. So for every setup, there's got to be a payoff, and it has to be, and it doesn't have to be fancy payoff. It just has to be, logical. I mean, if I do this, I want to do this. That's how you do it. You don't have to get incredibly, ornate about it. You just have to pay it off. You have to pay it off smartly, and you do it again by establishing those little things, the little crack in the sternum. Pay it off smartly, which is he finds a way. The way I do it simply, he brings in the villain, he reveals his sternum to bring the villain in. And when the villain gets close, he has learned this technique earlier in the film. Bring him down. But anyway.
Or put him in an armbar. But yeah, everybody watching, there's links below. Don't forget to.
You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
Oh, you want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
You got it! Get a piece of Rick.
Yeah, it's over there. I still love the fact that Jerry Stiller does the voice of the ape, then does the same voice, but he does his own voice. Very cute. Yeah. Anyway.
But there's all kinds of autographs, collectibles, movie posters. I mean, tons of stuff. And Rick's
incredible stuff.
He's trying to get rid of it.
Watch it.
So make sure you go to that store, check it out, and hit him up. There's lots of stuff there. All right, really quickly for all you people who have come in late to the show, thank you so much for popping in, even for a minute here. We're going to get to Ask Rick Anything in a section, and I could speak in the English in a second. But it's time for Rick's recap. Here we go. Tai Chi Master, the Tai Chi Master. Thumb up. Nice. Thumb up.
Yep.
All right. The Way of the Lone Wolf. Thumb up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Muscle Bound Maniacs.
No UP. No UP.
No UP.
No UP.
Thumb up. It's fun. All right. Next up, we have Ultra Bland.
No, it's not bland.
Okay.
It's just not Ultraman.
Okay.
It's Ultra. I don't know. You watch it. You tell me. It's okay.
I don't know. Okay.
But be ready for emotional stuff.
Okay. All right. Roadhouse 2.
First 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hitman. Okay. All right. Under Paris. All right. Let's go. Oh man. You know, it's for fun, instead of this, Rick, you should do this. Oh boy. All right. Doctor Who. Dr. Boo.
Each individual episodes, watch Boom, watch Ball and Bubble.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
as a whole, it's disappointing.
Gotcha. Season 2, House of the Dragon. Thumb up. All right. Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do? Thumb up. Okay.
Actually, I should do that. That's what I should do.
Horizon Part 1. Okay.
It's long.
It's long. And Inside Out 2. Look at that. 2 thumbs up for the Inside Outers. Yes.
Way up. Way up.
Nice. Way up. There you go. Nice. All right. Now it's time for
As
Let's get
as
to
if
it.
you need me to talk more.
Ask Rick anything. It's up to Rick. If we go to the chat comments in the chat, if you guys want to ask Rick anything, it's up to him. I don't know how much time he has, but we're going to go to YouTube here. First up, all right, from at Nightbringer 1509, he goes, Rick, during your martial arts training, what is the most memorable experience that you had, and what was the best advice you received that you still use every day?
There you go. Well, interestingly enough, it wasn't in my martial arts training. I started training in martial arts in 1978. And the martial arts is still a problem for me because it's all about punching. It's all about hurting the other person. It's all about fighting. And I've been trying to find Kung Fu for decades. And they didn't have Kung Fu in America to a degree that I could find it. Even the places that said they were doing Kung Fu, they weren't. And because immediately we got into the fists and the sparring. It wasn't until I went to Taiwan in 2001 and I got to meet everybody in Taiwan. Taiwan still has the best Kung Fu in the world. America has some of the people who learned in Taiwan, because in China, it's all, controlled by the government. In Taiwan, they have freedom, so they can actually do it. So again, the greatest moment is in two great moments. I was taught a foundational Qigong exercise called Feng Shui. And then and it looked so simple and so easy, no pain, no gain, no nothing like that, that I didn't, I watched it, I said, fine. They were saying that if you do this every day, you'll never be sick. And I sort of went, sure, man. Sure, old man, whatever. Then I came back to America and I became Santa Claus. And I got sick 6 times in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Because the kids had all the germs.
Right.
And I had shots, I had B12, I had all sorts of stuff. And I said, oh, fuck it, I'll try Feng Shui, which is what they taught me to do. Was never sick again.
Wow.
And what's great about Kung Fu, the Kung Fu I teach, Rick Fu, it means open mind, open heart, open hand. And the great thing about learning Kung Fu from people who are not trying to make money, because basically all martial arts is the exact same thing. The human body, the human mind, the world around you, the rest is money and ego. But money and ego is very powerful. My style is the best. My style is best. They're all the same. Human body, human mind, the world around them. But they want to make money. So they're only going to teach as much as they need to keep getting money from you every week. I learned more from Rick Barrett, who's in Staten Island, and Fong Song Lee, who's in Taipei, Taiwan. I learned more in 20 minutes than I had in 50 years. Because immediately, Rick Barrett, he has a little trick. And that is, he has you stand up. He stands next to you. He says, put your hand out. He takes your hand. He pushes on your hand. And then, eventually he, really quickly, he pulls you over. He pushes you over. And I went, right. He says, okay, now do the same thing. But this time, put your finger out. Put your forefinger out. So I put my forefinger out. He couldn't push me over. And I went. And so that's the thing about the open mind. That's why we call it body-mind, not mind and body. We call it the body-mind. I've been to a lot of classes with Rick, and I see a lot of the same students, and they come in and they are taught miracles every single class. And as soon as they leave the class, their mind shuts. They stop believing it's possible. The moment my mind is open, it stays open. Now, when he did that, I knew it was possible. I didn't understand it yet, but I knew it was possible. And so at that point, he started teaching me basically the way the mind and body work together. You are all of the world is, I can't do this because I'm plugged into the wall. I can do this because I have energy inside me. You can call it chi, you can call it the force, whatever you want, but there's still energy that runs the universe. It's all energy. And he showed me that you could tap into the big chi, which is the energy around you, the energy inside you. You can make it flow, you can control it, and all the rest of it. So he did that, but he also showed me by standing in certain positions, activating different parts of my body, and most importantly, allowing myself to do it, allowing myself to believe it. I could accomplish things like he turned me into Juggernaut. He had everyone in the class gather together to push me over. But he put me in this certain position. Again, I activated my forefingers. I anchored my feet. The feet is a completely different. There's the balls of your feet. There's the bowling well of your foot. There's your heel of your foot. There's all sorts of ways you can root yourself. You watch Tai Chi people, they can settle, but then they can root. And when they root, they cannot be pushed. And so he had everybody in the class pushing on me, and I just was going, because I didn't feel any of them. They could not move me. But the moment I started laughing, they could move me because I broke the thing. So what I learned is that keep an open mind, open heart, open hand. And remember, it's all about health. It's not about being badass. It's about being smart ass. It's about being great ass. It's about being wise ass. I got news for you. I'm a writer. Written dozens and dozens of books, almost 100 books. I've worked in every medium imaginable. And there's one thing that every book and every movie and every television show taught me, which is I know the ending of the story. You know the ending to the story. This is why I wish in Ghostbusters, Bill Murray had said, yeah, of course you're going to die. We're all going to die. But what's great is that these ghosts are living proof that there's something more. So don't worry about it. Because that's what people
afterlife, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever. We'll find. Let me put it this way. I don't know it for sure, even though my father came back in the form of energy to show me shit. But whether there's an afterlife or not, you're going to find out. We know the ending to the story. So that taught me very clearly. And again, this is through Kung Fu, because remember, Kung Fu, the definition we came up that we used specifically for Films of Fury is human achievement. Kung Fu the word means human achievement. And so we know what's going to happen. So remember, it's not about the ending. Don't worry about the ending. Ending's taken care of. It'll happen. Whether it'll happen like to the 4-year-old who I was Santa Claus to in a children's hospital, or happen to a 101-year-old relative of mine, a 105-year-old friend of mine, it's still going to happen. And it's going to happen to you, and it's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to him. It's going to happen to him. It's going to happen. Don't worry about it. It will happen. What you need to do, what you should do, I shouldn't tell you what you need to do. I'm going to tell you what I do. I'm going to enjoy everything. I'm just going to enjoy everything. When I'm on the toilet, I'm going to enjoy it. And also now that I'm over 70, I'm getting pains. I'm enjoying those too. Because it's really interesting when it hits in a certain area of my body because of Rick Barrett and Fong Song Lee, I go directly to here's a little trick I can show you. See if you can do this. Do this with your fingers. Now, have your forefinger feel your thumb. Have your thumb feel your forefinger. See if you can do that. Go to those places in your mind. I can do it right now automatically. I'm going to have my forefinger feel my thumb. Yep, feel it. I'm going to have my thumb feel my forefinger. There we go. I do it every morning. I do it with my knees, and I do it with my hand on my knee, and I do it with my foot on the floor. I have my foot feel the floor, and then I have the floor feel the foot. Well, I have the foot feel the floor, and then it goes back and forth. And I have my hand feel my knee. I have my knee feel my hand. Because all that's doing is showing that you can go to different places in your brain. So if you're having problems, because in part of my Qigong, I do like 45 minutes of Qigong every day, every morning. If you're having problems somewhere in your body, you can go to that place and bring love to it. The problem with exercising, it's all about hurting yourself. The problem with fighting, it's all about hurting yourself. Qigong is about healing yourself. That's what I work on. And if somebody's going to be so stupid and so needy that they need to attack me, it's kind of like, it's very unlikely. But in the unlikely event, I will again do what I've been taught, which is I will let them, I'll hurt them. That's the other thing that was so awesome. My friend, I think I told you about this guy too. He always wants to push me, and I always let him push me. And when I push him, he pushes me. I push myself through him. Your energy can go right through the stuff. So all of that was proven to me, and I accepted it. I didn't say, "Oh no, it's not possible." I experienced it, and I experienced different things every day. I never get tired. I've never needed caffeine because caffeine. Yeah, I know. Caffeine.
We'll put this over here and hide it.
I am trying to help folks. I'm trying to help Phat.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need it. You don't need it. It's all there.
I'm
It's
always
all about-
tired.
Are you really always tired?
Rick, we need to talk off the stream when we're done.
I'm offering. I've always offered you to cheat. Yeah, you really you get
When we
healthy
get off stream. We'll talk
because you want to be happy for your whole life. Because again, you will die.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, really quick before we go to the next question,
Yeah.
I could have sworn, maybe you can confirm this. I could have sworn that there was a story. I heard a story.
Yeah.
That Donnie Yen's mother.
Oh yeah.
Did a demonstration
With me.
Oh, she did it with you? Well, there was
Yeah.
the one I heard was there was like these big football player guys.
Yeah, that's the one you heard from me.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, what happened was
yeah.
Donnie Yen's mom, who's one of the great Tai Chi teachers in Boston.
Right.
Even though, of course, given that everybody likes to fight in martial arts, they would go, "Oh, she's not that great." I'm going, whatever. She liked, because I was doing the movie column for Inside Kung Fu for 20 years or 28 years. And so she liked the way I wrote about her son, Donnie. So she invited me and Vincent Lin to bring Operation Condor up to Boston, where she taught, and took us out to dinner. And so we met at her school, and her school was right by the water. It was really cool. And she was doing a video with some film students from Boston University. And they had brought 2 football players with them, because I'll always remember this. She was doing the classic stance of a female Tai Chi master, which was her one of her legs was on the floor. Her other leg was straight up above her head.
Right. That's right.
She was just,
crazy.
It was just awesome. And then she told the 2 football players, push
probably guys my size or bigger.
Yeah, much bigger than her.
Yeah.
She was a little tiny Chinese woman. Yeah. She said, push me over. Both of them couldn't move her. And I sort of went, I looked at Vincent, he looked at me, and I went, yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Vincent. Love that guy. Yeah.
That's Kung Fu.
That's awesome. All right, next question.
That's Tai Chi. That's Tai Chi.
Right. This is from, another legend here. I've had him on the show before. We got an upcoming episode coming soon, Scrapping with Samurai. Christian, A.K. Morganson. He goes, who is his favorite living martial arts actor? Who's your favorite living martial arts actor? I'm going to take a swing at it. I think I know.
Go ahead.
I think I know.
Yep.
Is it? Hold on. Is it? Am I close? No.
Yeah, you're close.
All right. Who is it?
Jet Li.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
All right. Li.
Jackie has issues.
Right.
Jackie damages himself a lot. Jackie is maybe still estranged from his wife and his child, maybe not. Jackie was so terribly treated as a child by his 2 sets of parents, who may not have been, neither of them may have been. He's always looked for a father figure. His father figure now is China. And he and I had a talk in 2001 where I was explaining to him, because of my damage as a child, that it was important to break the cycle of abuse. It was important to break the cycle of pain. And he had the opportunity, and in his case, break the cycle of abandonment. In his case, he had to do that with his son. And he stared at me, he blinked, he looked down, because he realized, and then I realized, he missed the opportunity. His son by that time, his son was already beyond the age that he was when he was abandoned twice. So I love Jackie. I feel for Jackie. Jackie, I know, loves me. The last time I saw Jackie was very gratifying, in that he was getting an award at the New York Asian Film Festival. And I've done a lot of things with Jackie and for Jackie, the comic book and the book covers, all this stuff. He attributes his success in America in part through my actions to try to sell him to America the way he is, not as a fake Bruce Lee or as a fake Clint Eastwood. And it was, and then, I introduced Jonathan Ross to Jackie, et cetera, et cetera. So I love Jackie. He was getting an award at the New York Asian Film Festival, and I was in the front row applauding, and he was looking around the audience, and his eyes lit on me, and he went, and he jumped up, he came to the edge of the stage, he put his arms out, I came up to him, and he hugged me, and then, and then I went back to my chair, and when I turned around, everyone in the audience was staring at me going, who the fuck are you? Why do you get a hug from Jackie Chan? So be that as it may. However, Jet.
Right, back to Jet, yeah.
Jet I've always wanted to meet La Kal-yong because I respect him as a filmmaker more than, and also as a Kung Fu person more than anybody else working in film, but I never got to meet him. I met his brother. I interviewed his honorary brother, Gordon, twice, but I never got to meet him. But I did meet Jet in person, but also spoke to him several times. To me, there's nothing there's a lot of things in the Bible that I don't necessarily believe. However, every single thing Jesus says in the Bible, I totally believe and I totally agree with. Jet for me is the Jesus of Kung Fu. There's nothing he's ever said to me that I didn't, not only did I agree with him wholeheartedly, but he opened my mind, he opened my heart, he opened my stomach, he opened my hands. He always told me the truth. He always told me the truth. When we were talking about the live action Mulan, when we were talking about what was the movie that was supposed to be his last movie in America? I said say that
Fearless?
Whatever that movie was, when all the promotion saying this is his last one, and I was talking to him on the phone. I was calling him from New York, and he was talking to me from China. And I said, "They say this is your last one." He said, "Yep, that's what they say."
Yeah, he's another.
The way he does his life, the way he all his charities, all the rest of it.
Yeah,
he is a true Kung Fu man. He is yin yang. He is yin and yang mixed. Again, not evil or good, good and evil, good and bad, healing and martial. He knows it all. He learns it all. And I love also, I'm not an actor. I'm certainly not a stunt man. So yeah, Jet Li
he did say that to you.
Yeah, Jet Li is the guy in Kung Fu
favorite. I have a question for Rick.
Yeah,
favorite Jet Li movie.
Oh, that's a tough one.
For now, just off the top of your head.
Once Upon a Time in China 2.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in China 2.
Nice. All right, next up from F1780. What is your favorite movie of 2024 so far, Rick?
Inside Out 2.
Nice.
No effing question.
Copy that. This is from Key. Our boy here, Key Jawak. This is more of a statement. He goes, "Many thanks for recommending RRR. Me and my wife enjoyed it a lot, and I became a big fan of this movie. Any news on a legit Blu-ray or 4K release? Can't find it around here or Europe." Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't seen anything about an actual physical release.
No, I have. No, and I'm sure they have them in India, but
right.
Yeah,
maybe because it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's probably why.
And you can do it streaming or whatever. Yeah, I got rid of all my DVDs, all my Blu-rays, all my machines, most of my art. Again, that you can get on You Want a Piece of Me.
Right.
But my pleasure. I love the Indian stuff. Netflix is awesome for the Indian stuff. I love their cop movies. Their police story based kind of cop movies. Especially, I forgot what it's called, Soryavanashi. I love the fight scene at the beginning and the fight scene at the end. And the musical numbers are so great.
Oh my goodness.
To me, most great fight scenes are musical numbers. They're fight numbers. They're mayhem numbers.
Do you have time for 3 more and then we'll wrap it up?
Sure, I don't care.
Okay. Rick,
yes.
If you could create a story for Godzilla -1 sequel, how would you do it?
It's a good question because Godzilla -1 works for me because of the emotional content, and the idea of using a kamikaze pilot as the leading character is just brilliant. So it's a matter of dealing with the Japanese soul and how Godzilla represents that. To answer your question, I haven't come up with one yet that I think is faultless. That is foolproof. I understand why Godzilla became what Godzilla became, because there's no way you can continue that story without being miserable. The surprise of this one is so great, because it has emotional content and it follows all the, they had Godzilla X Kong right afterwards. And it's kind of like, that's why Godzilla -1 works so well, because it's real. And I'm not sure how you can do another real one without being really insulting to the Japanese people.
Right. Well, he's going to try.
I know.
The director's going to try.
The little trick that I would do, there is a sadomasochistic underlining of the Japanese psyche. If you ever learn Japanese and you go to Tokyo, your mind will be blown. Because if you can read what actually you go into, I went into office buildings, and there were entire floors, beautiful offices that look like the headquarters of IBM or Amazon or whatever. But the sign on the door, which is only in Japanese, every single office is the most incredible perversion you can imagine, and they're all different. The building is like every perversion imaginable, and some that you can't imagine, but are available to you here. Well, no, not to you, not to Gaijin.
Right.
I mean, but because I had friends in town, and also my friends could not bring me around. They had to introduce me to a Chinese version of them, because if a Japanese was showing a white guy around their secrets, trouble. But the Chinese, who are scum as far as they're concerned, he could show me around. So yeah, if Godzilla could represent the sadomasochistic foundation of Japanese history, but I think that would only be the one I could make, because I don't mind being a prevert. I was going to do a book. For years I tried to sell the book called The World of Japanese Fetish.
Yeah.
And I had my Japanese author friend working with me, and nobody wanted to do it.
It was too extreme. It was too wild.
Well, blow your mind, man.
Next up, we have a Chinese female rapper says, "Did you get a chance to watch the Logan the Wolf fan movie? It's incredible."
No, but now that you told me about it, where can I find it?
I'll send it to you, Rick.
Oh, you've already got it? Oh, yeah, awesome.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's right. Think of it as live action What If, right? I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's right up my alley. I'm going to be doing a video on it very soon.
Okay.
I don't know if Rick will like it. Hopefully Rick will like it. We'll see. So, but yeah, stay tuned, guys. I'll be doing a video on that, another reaction video for that. Last one here. Rick, if Star Wars Origins were written as a Vietnam War allegory, what allegory could you see for the Acolyte?
The Emperor's New Clothes.
There you go.
And also, I don't completely subscribe to the idea that Star Wars was Vietnam, but
no, it's more war. It's more war too. It's obvious.
It's Akira Kurosawa movies, and it's spaghetti westerns and spaghetti westerns. Yeah, that's right. He only made Star Wars because he couldn't get the rights to Flash Gordon.
Right. Copy that. Oh my goodness. Champ says, thanks for answering his question. We salute you, Paul Brown III. Yes. Well, this was awesome. Next time we do this, guys, I will not be last minute with the Ask Rick Anything. I'll put it up like a week before.
Yeah, and also if it's too long,
Yeah.
it's up
We
to
can do
you.
a separate.
Pat.
We can do a separate video.
Exactly. We can
Yeah,
do
we can do
absent
that
film
too.
autopsy, and we can also do Ask Rick
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, guys, you are awesome. Thank you so much
You
for
are indeed.
hanging out with us. Let us know in the comments below. That's right, all of you that didn't show up live with us, but are going to watch this video later. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of each series and movie Rick discussed today. Thumbs up, thumbs down, all that good stuff. We love you guys. Thanks again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Old Samurai Guy. I actually, we enjoyed seeing you in the comments there, brother. But there's actually one more thing. Boom! Rick, is there anything you can tease us about San Diego Comic-Con coming up July 25th?
It's shaping up very well. And I don't know the facts, but all of it is going to impinge on the fact that Wolverine and Deadpool premieres on the first day of San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
That cannot be an accident. If it had been, they would have scheduled it for the opening of Disney's convention, D23, but it's opening the Thursday. It's opening when we're doing our show.
Yeah. So everybody, please come to the show. You can watch Logan, you can watch Deadpool and Wolverine the next.
Let me put it this way. Depending on what happens, Frank and Phat are going to show up and I'm not going to be there. They're going to cut to me in the theater going, eating the popcorn, watching
That
Wolverine.
Would be hilarious.
Little video comes up of me in the theater going.
Funny. We put it on the screen for the audience, and you're like, "Hey, hope you guys are having fun at the extravaganza. This
not bad.
Amazing. Popping popcorn. Oh my goodness."
SDCC should be already. There's already word that Marvel is going to be involved. That James Gunn is going to be involved, and between those two things, I don't think you're going to be able to get away from it. Our show is going to be real good. We're going to see just how good in the next month because Welko's already given a whole bunch of stuff. Frank already has a whole bunch of stuff. We already have. I can tell you. I think I can. Yeah, I can do this. Cynthia Rothrock is going to give us a sneak peek of her handmade, self-made movie at the event.
Yes.
We're bringing in several people. Basically, the theme for this year's action film, not action film, Autopsy, Kung Fu Extravaganza is DIY dreams. Do it yourself dreams. Make it. If you can't get in the theaters, you do it because you can now. And I'm bringing a bunch of people who have all done it, and it's all great.
It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. It always is.
Yeah, we have Sammo Hung's protege coming to show his internationally award-winning thing. It's going to be a good show. Yeah. And but it all depends. Yeah. We're going to see what happens. I'm waiting for the programming guys to get to me because they have to send me the portal so I can get everybody their badges and shit. Right. And I'm going to ask, is there going to be a screening at the baseball stadium? Because they did that one year. They showed a movie in the baseball stadium with however many thousands of people the baseball stadium could get. And I was just going, come on, do it on Wednesday. Do it on Wednesday. Give every program person a ticket. Let's go.
Exactly. Well, it's going to be awesome. It always is. It's never sucked in the 27 years. It's never been horrible. It's always fun. It's always awesome having you guys there to watch. So make sure you guys show up and watch. And we're going to end it with this. Takashi says, your panel is bigger for me than that Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Well, look at that.
Okay, then you take over the panel. You take over. I'm going to go to the movie. I'm going to the movie. You take over the panel. Put on a beard.
Oh, my goodness. Well, this is always a blast hanging out with my brother here and hanging out with you guys. Hey, I'll see you guys on the next one. We got some upcoming stuff coming towards the end of this week. And at some point this week, I'll react to the Hellboy trailer.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to Versus, too. Maybe
I should do it with Rick. Maybe me and Rick should do the Hellboy trailer. Yeah. You want to do it, Rick?
I don't mind.
We'll see. We'll check our crazy schedules this week. All right, guys. Take care. Keep watching movies, good movies. And we'll see you legends on the next one. Take care.